Hello, greetings to all followers of United States of Africa. We are live from the African Broadcasting Agency, and today we have a guest from Uganda. He's going to introduce himself. We are talking about the importance of Black unity. Without Black unity, we are going nowhere, and we cannot gain respect if we first don't respect ourselves. So we have to unite and discard all our differences. Some Africans are discriminating each other based on their head size, the type of color. We have Africans that are darker than others, some are taller than others, and these minor issues. We are having Africans discriminate against each other. Welcome, Bahat, to this live conference, live broadcast, so that you can introduce yourself and give your view on Black unity. What do you think we have to do for us to unite as Black people
Thank
around
you.
the world?
Thank you very much, Daniel. Good evening, good afternoon to all the viewers around the world. I am Bahat Bahat. I am an engineer in automotive and power engineering, and I am a leader as well. I have a great passion for leadership. I am profoundly honored and exceedingly humbled to be hosted on this platform. I am a Pan Africanist as well. Mr. Daniel, 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 can you hear me? Can you listen to me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Daniel,
Are you able to hear me?
yes, I am humbled to be here today.
You're
Yes, I am able
welcome.
now. And
We have another person, another guest from South Africa.
mm,
Can you put on your camera
Hi
so
guys.
that and introduce yourself? We are talking about the importance of Black unity.
All right. Yeah, I saw it in the invite. Been following the invitation that quote from Malcolm X. Yeah.
So, what's your take on Black unity? Why is it so important?
No, I think like it's well outlined. Okay, someone's mic is giving feedback, so I think it would be nice if you're not the one who's addressing, you put your mic so that we don't get the feedback. Because now I can hear myself. Okay, thank you. Yeah, as I was saying, like you said that it's if we are going to integrate as human beings across color and across country, we need to firstly unite in small communities. You know, communities unite, which leads to regions, which then leads to provinces in other countries or states in other countries, and then the country comes together. You see, right now, all the squabbles that are happening from the fact that we are not really integrated. We did not really come together as a people before we wanted to integrate with other nations and other ethnicities. So at the end of the day, the quote says that it is very important that before we go and integrate with all other ethnicities, let's first unite ourselves. Let's first become a block ourselves. So my take is that it is not only we cannot take it lying down the fact that unity. How do we then unite? Like I think that's the question we need to answer right now. How do we unite? Like in a practical way, which like I think Daniel will always hear that I am not an angry person. I think that people who are angry make very awful decisions. So we need to be sound and come up with practical ways in which we can unite. And remember that uniting is not a hating of another. No, it's doing for self. We need to unite because we are uniting ourselves. Not that we are trying to exclude anyone else. If I am right now a member of GPEN, it does not mean I think any less of any other organization out there. They have nothing going. I have my thing going. It should not be to say that I am hating on any other organization. Like right now, when you talk about black unity, people will come and call you a racist. People will come and call you, all sorts of things. You are inciting violence. You are inciting hatred. But then at the end of the day, it is just that we need to unite as a people. Right now, all the exploitation, and we cannot take it lying down or say that it is something that is not happening. We have evidence. We have enough evidence of saying that because of the disintegration that's happening in Africa, we are being taken advantage of. Like civil wars. Like there are civil war countries which are still actually giving an output. The other time, I think I shared something. There is a civil war, there's some sort of civil war going on, but companies are still actually maintaining their business in those countries. So, who actually benefits from our disintegration? The fact that we are not united is a benefit for someone else. We need to actually answer the question to say who is benefit from the fact that we are disintegrated, and we need to remember that whoever is benefiting from the fact that we are disintegrated will always want us to be disintegrated so that they can continue benefiting. So right now, you need to know it's a war. They are not going to say it's a war, but then it is a war because the minute you start to say you are integrating, it means that you are basically taking away from some people who are right now benefiting. Like the other day when we speak about poverty being a billion-dollar industry, it is a fact. Now, those people who are now benefiting from that poverty, which is there because of disintegration, are not going to take it lying down. But now there are some guys who are talking about integration. So I think that if we take it on a very calm and very collected and very integrated approach of saying that we are integrating not out of hatred, but no, just because we are people in close proximity of the same ethnicity, and we are coming together to do say that we are a block. Whatever we're going to do, we'll be doing it together as a block. That is my take.
Okay, thank you very much for your contribution. In regards to Black unity, there's been a
Can I
lot of
carry on?
anxiety among other races
Daniel,
when you say that we are uniting as people. Some tell us we are hating other
Daniel,
people,
can I carry?
but that is not what Pan Africanism is all about. It's about unifying people with
Hmm.
common culture, common heritage, common history, and we are not coming together because we hate other races. No, we are coming together to solve our own problems and the common challenges that we are facing that are only common to people of African descent around the
Hmm.
world. And by us coming together, we'll be able to dismantle the systems
Hmm.
that have impeded the economic development of Africa. And in regards of practical ways, let us get contributions from Bahat from Uganda. Which are practical ways in which we can unite as a people?
Thank you very much, my brother Daniel. Uh, when we talk about there are great forces needed in uniting. But again, there is a stumbling block that is making us separate each and every day, have wrangles each and every day, fight one another. There is our biggest enemy. When you go through the history of Africa, you will find out that it is the Western civilization. A few people can interpret Malcolm X's uh, story about the modern Uncle Tom and the old Uncle Tom, the new Negro and the old Negro. We are enslaved even at this moment. Why I say that the Western civilization has been the biggest stumbling block is because we have carried on their systems, which which spread more oppression, spread more hatred between our brothers and sisters. And that is why we have failed to unite. Imagine the education we are having. It is a corrupt education. It is not favoring us. See the judicial system. You look at the democratic system of parties, whereby each and every day a different party is fighting with another party. We're fighting ourselves. If we first have to realize who is our enemy, who is the enemy, we shall then unite. But even if we urge for Africans to unite, look at this. We have African Union, but are we united through African Union? We are not united at all because our actions do not show that we are united. The biggest block is the Western civilization. We have adopted a culture that is not ours, and this has failed us. It is the minute we can revisit our history, we can build ourselves. But if we carry on the edifices of the communism, socialism, capitalism, we are going nowhere. I assure you this, we shall never unite at all. We do not know the enemy. Knowing the enemy, teaching people about the enemy to the African continent is a big issue. Thank you very much, Daniel.
Okay, you're welcome. Do you want to contribute in regards to the real enemy? Who is the real enemy of
Mm.
Africans? Can get a contribution from Azania.
To me, the real enemy is the Western. Yes. To me,
Uh,
the real enemy is the Western civilization. The people who came here and colonized us. You people think that we are no longer colonized, but we are still enslaved by those people. We are still following each and every of their culture. We are following, instead of following the divine law, we are following their supreme law. Instead of following our own rights, education values, we are following their education values. Instead of following our own culture, we are now adopting homosexualism, we are adopting their kind of marriages, we are adopting their kind of dress code. Even our own food has been corrupted. And these people, the Western civilization, has very many tools of enslaving us. They introduce this kind of artists whereby we have musicians, we have games which get our minds addicted, and we cannot think at all and see that we are leading a wrong way because we have these tools that have got our minds addicted and we can't think. So our greatest enemy as Africans is the Western civilization, to me.
Absolutely agree with you. And there's someone who is saying some of our leaders are enemies.
Yes, Daniel.
Titi Azania, do you agree with the comment?
Uh, we can say they are our enemies because who gave us the leaders? It's like Bahati saying, the system that crippled us also gave us leaders
Mm.
and defined good and bad for us. Right now, anything we do is within that confines. We elect a leader, the leader is bad. We elect a leader, they take the leader to the valor. That's Machiavelli. He says that whenever they elect a leader, you treat the people very bad and they will naturally get a leader. And when that leader has actually ascended to a place of leadership, capital will start buying the leader. Or basically, right now, what's happening is that capital gives us leaders. So what happens is that Machiavelli says that take the leader and treat the leader well, and the leader will forget about the people. Leadership in the democratic dispensation, for the most part in Africa, has forgotten about the people. No longer about the people. and I'm going to borrow from Professor Lumumba, Prof. Yellow. He says that it has become a tribal thing right now. Like we are trying very hard to say that there's democracy. There is no democracy really. It's just a tribal thing. We are now, what do you call it? We are now managing for for the leaders that are. Democracy is simply managing for the leaders that are. There's really no leader in these confines of saying that there's a democracy, there are elections. Everything is now bought or sold. You are bought or you are sold. So when Bahat said that it is Western culture, I was very interested in that. He need to go finer. When he talked about the education, each and everything that is there right now, it has been imposed to Africans. We are trying to assimilate. Whatever we do right now is assimilation. No one wants to stay in the villages anymore. No one wants to stay in the villages anymore. We are all trying to get out of the villages. But that's African. We are no longer developing any villages. We want to go and overpopulate what we call cities that we did not build ourselves, that we found there. Cities that were actually in places like Ghana, whereby the French built their cities, and those cities are now it still belong to the French, and the Ghana has to pay homage or rent or whatever they're paying to the French for their buildings, which were not demolished, if we can put it like that. So right now, everything that we are doing is assimilation. It is Ngugi wa Thiong'o when he says in decolonizing the mind, he wrote that the canon punished the body, but the education fascinates the mind. Right now, education is fascinating. It doesn't matter how awful what type of education you're getting, as long as you're learning something or you are given the illusion that you are learning something. That is fascinating to the mind. You need to learn. Education right now, well, for the most part, our education is dictated. We good or bad comes from the West, and then we need to assimilate to that. So right now, when Bahat says that it's Western culture, we need to then go finer and deconstruct everything on a very fine level. We need to take charge of our education. We need to take charge of our spirituality. Yeah, like when we come to spirituality, also, why? The civil wars that are happening in Africa. For the most part, they will tell you that there is a Hutu sect which is full of Christians, and there's another sect which is full of Muslims, and now these two sects are against each other. It's black people assimilated to imported religions, and now those religions are not compatible with each other. They and like you see, they don't actually come to define who we are as a person. It is more of like an outside force coming inside. Whereas spirituality in African tradition was that you need to go inside and find out who you are and be true to self, take responsibility. Now that's all gone. It's either God or Satan. It's like there is somebody who is in charge of whatever you do. If it's good, it's God. If it's bad, it's Satan. No one is taking responsibility anymore. These people and our leaders, when we say that our leaders are our enemies, our leaders no longer think of themselves as being responsible. Right now, when they do good, they can attribute it to God and goodness and all the light. And when they do bad, it's Satan. They can blame something. So there is no longer responsibility, like that internal responsibility of saying that in ancestry, I want to keep my lineage pure. It's no longer there. We are all just living and attributing our lives to a deity somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contributions. In my view, I believe that we need to completely dismantle this Western culture that is coming in many ways through the education by influencing certain values. For example, what Bahat said, homosexuality, and trying to bring Western culture in the name of human rights. We have to start believing in ourselves, believe in our culture, and embrace the African way of life. Because without standing to defend our cultural values, we will be open to manipulation. And then one thing that is very important in African leadership, we need to define the kind of leadership that we want. Is we the African voters that support these leaders who at the end of it all fail to deliver. Maybe we support these leaders because they come from our tribe, or they have given us some handouts, but we don't support leaders because they have the capabilities to solve our problems in Africa. So we really need to awaken the masses in terms of bringing to power responsible leadership that is really determined to solve the problems that we are facing in our countries. Do we have Bahat on? I think he's having a network problem.
Yeah, I think Bahat is having a connection problem. Here he
Cheers.
is.
Okay, can you step in and contribute?
Okay, thank you. I
Are you
think
able?
also I have about 10 minutes while Bahat is coming in. Let me just bring it. This is a less popular fact. It's a fact nonetheless, and I don't think anyone can deny it. Prof. PLO says about when South Africans and the white people want to be compensated for land right now, or land restitution and redistribution, want compensation. But he went back and said that these people, when they came, they did not have the land. They came without passports. Nonetheless, like it's not a very popular truth, but it is truth nonetheless. So right now we need to actually go and really. I think I'm an economic student, and there is this justice in purchase, justice in sale, and why? How do we justify redistribution? We justify redistribution because there was no justice in purchase. Some of the people who now own the land will tell you that we paid for the land, but you cannot pay for somebody who stole something and believe that you've got a title deed, right? So right now, when when colonizers came, and today I was reading about Vassal, the kingdom of Gaza in present day Mozambique. And then when the Portuguese came there, they conquered the land, and then they placed black what do you call them? Black rulers in the format of kings. They now place them as vassals to the king. So right now you had a king who has always been a leader of his people and the ultimate voice, now answering to another king somewhere in England, and that actually messed all everything up, confused the people. Right now, we've got aspirations which are not really for the land. Our aspirations is to get out of the land. Our aspirations is to go to the States. Our aspiration is to go to the UK. We want to go to Germany. We want to go out of Africa so we can find ourselves. Like that is how far it has gone. Like right now, Pan Africanists who are outside, who are in the diaspora, Pan Africanists in the diaspora. How are we like? Where is like the mentality of saying that I'm a Pan Africanist, but I'm in the diaspora? We need to just we need to integrate the diaspora. We need all Pan Africanists back on the motherland so that we actually, all the sufferings of the land, we should all suffer them, and all the benefits of the land, we should all get them. We should, like Marcus Garvey had to say that, you know what, let's take black people back to the motherland. If they're going to struggle, they are struggling right now. We are struggling as it is. So to say that if we press a reset button, not going to help us, I think it's disingenuous to say that no, we can't go back and try to fix Africa. We need to fix Africa from the outside. I think he also the ambassador Arikana also mentioned something like that to say that it's very comfortable to be a Pan Africanist outside of Africa. It's very comfortable to be a rioter, no, who is not in the riot. Right now, I think for us to come together, the voices are there. But there's a video that we always share on the GPN WhatsApp network about how we are all very busy, working very hard, but we don't have anything. We can't accomplish anything, because we are doing it, in our own spaces. Now we need to bring all the fingers together to make a feast. We need to come together. Like right now, I know that GPN actually has a organizational membership whereby we can have organizations coming together under one umbrella. This basically becomes what we call politics. Politics is the fact that the will of the people will be exercised. The will of the people to be exercised through their leader. Right now, we've got a place whereby our leaders are very powerful, more powerful than the people actually, or perceived to be more powerful than the leaders. Because I think I've seen an illustration somewhere whereby people who don't realize their power, if they walk away, the politician will collapse. There's no politics without people. If people walk away from the politician will collapse. It doesn't matter how much money the politician has. So right now we need to go back and say that the power is with the people. The power rests with the majority. In politics today, I hated politics because I did not see that happening in politics until I realized that it was not politics happening. It was just something, a corruption. It was just the corruption of the black nation to say that there's something called politics. It's all about comradeship. It's all about corruption. It's all about, cadre deployment. It's all about doing for self and those who are around you. So if we are going to deconstruct the the tightly constructed state of Africa, we need to come together. We need to bring all these people who seem to be working for Africa. We need to bring them together under one roof. They need to be one voice and decide once and for all, how does Africa move forward? Because right now, Africa cannot move forward with democracy. I think actually I've had academics in some of the major universities here in South Africa talking about how democracy was never an African concept. We in Africa had Ubuntu, whereby we say that you are because I am. It was all about helping people. It was all about maintaining the homeostasis within the whole community. To say that let's say we were poor. Okay, let me take a deep say and say we were poor, but we were not hungry. We were poor, but we were not hungry. So right now, let's go back to our poverty, whereby no one is hungry. Rather than this poverty of elitists, whereby poor people who are on Twitter are showing you what they are having for dinner and for lunch. And like there are people who sleep without food, and we think that everything is fine because we're living in cocoons, we've been imprisoned in very small cells whereby we don't care about who's in the next cell, how are they doing. And that is democracy. That's democracy. The more you do, the more you get. Whereas we as Africans had Ubuntu, or we can say that we can develop on the concept of Ubuntu. I am because you are. White people and capitalism might not actually work. It might not click Ubuntu to say I am because you are. That's why they are trying to deconstruct it. It seems like a governance system that cannot work because they're saying that they can't research it. There is no greed in it, and when there is no greed, capitalism does not work. So if capitalism does not work, we need to then realize that okay, they are not going to allow it to come into being, not allow it to come into fruition. That is why when PLO, he speaks a lot of truth, and he speaks about how each and every Pan-African leader was systematically taken out, was assassinated, was overthrown. All those things happening. It's because every time we take one step towards a united Africa, they, the forces that are take 7 steps deeper into the exploitation of Africa and all. So I think that with that, we need to have a delicate debate and a delicate balance of saying how do we integrate, how do we make it a point that SADC actually becomes powerful, how does ECOWAS become powerful, how does Central Africa become powerful, and then how do we eventually integrate? How is our leaders going to get over the fact that they've got countries? In my view, there is no legitimate state in Africa. there is no legitimate state in Africa. If there are legitimate states in Africa, we need to go back to Mabungu, we need to go back to Great Zimbabwe, we need to go back to Timbuktu, we need to go back to the Kingdom of Gaza. We need to go back. Those were legitimate kingdoms, they were legitimate states. Right now, the boundaries that are because of the Berlin Act should actually, there is no, what do you call it? There's no legitimacy when I look at them. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you very much. You're welcome for the contributions. I absolutely agree with the fact that we have to embrace Ubuntu because capitalism has really contributed to further disintegration of Africa and the rise of individualism. When you tell someone, let us come together, start this project that will empower the community, you'll find out that Africans will start shying away because they are living comfortable lifestyles individually and do not see the need of running a community project that will empower thousands of people in the community. And there's also competition among us. You want your friends to always salute you because you're more successful than them. When you buy a brand new car, you just organize a party, take them out, buy them drinks, and but these friends, when they come with a business idea and tell you, I have this interesting business idea and I believe it's going to work. Can you help me with $1,000 capital so that I can start this business? You'll see that Africans are very slow to help others to be able to start businesses that can impact communities. For example, if you sponsor that friend to start a business, and that friend employs maybe 10 people in that business, that way you empower your community directly. And we have been encouraging our members to crowdfund resources so that we can do community projects and projects that we can say these are African projects, and everyone in Africa can be able to benefit in the long run. Because we cannot have an independent Africa if we don't have control of the economy. So we have to start by implementing small business initiatives, and these will grow in time with time, and we'll be able to provide economic opportunities for our members. For example, we started with the Sierra Leone soap production project. That's in the manufacturing sector. So with time, you will notice that we will continue growing that business. We'll make our products available to our members, and by consuming our products ourselves, we'll become the first marketers of what we produce. One thing I realize in Africa, we don't consume what we produce, but we produce it for others. For example, if we produce millions of tons of cocoa in Ghana, the Europeans will be first to consume it before we even consume it. And we in fact send to them the first grade cocoa, the first grade tea, and all kind of produce that comes from Africa. We are the last to consume, and when you consume, it's imported from those countries that we exported the raw products from. So we really need to wake up and begin a journey towards economic emancipation of Africa, empowering ourselves and linking up with all Pan-African organizations towards the advancements of the interests of Africa. And seeing Aura Buni, you are saying we need to move like TFF. We must be like Hydra with many heads. Malema is not the only head of EFF. The speaker is correct. Whenever we try, the enemy destroys our efforts. Uh, and then very few, a few leaders care about people. Unfortunately, certainly, Global Pan Africanism Network has so many representatives around the world, and I'm not the only leader in Global Pan Africanism Network, and in the United States of Africa, we have so many leaders that are working towards the realization of African unity and the realization of unification of all people of African descent wherever they are. I believe that if we begin taking action, we will talk less and we will start seeing the projects that we are running being successful. And in regards to the land issues, when the European settlers came to Africa, they just came with a bag, but now they have the land and they're asking to be compensated. Yet they did not legally take the land. In fact, there was a bloodbath in Africa when they were taking this land. So there is no justification for them to ask to be compensated for something that they bought and they knew that it was taken illegally from the African people. These are some of the problems that we are facing in South Africa as Africans. And for us to decolonize our lands, we have to have a very firm position and be able to confront these issues before us without shying away, because I believe if we begin addressing these issues in a very honest manner, use our history as a weapon, we will be able to overcome and confront these racial injustices. Colonialism did not bring any benefits to Africa. It destroyed one of the greatest world civilizations in Africa. We had so many thriving empires that were running on very successful, very strong African political leadership systems. But when the colonizers came, they destroyed these political systems and now introduced this democracy. And this democracy is not working for Africa. It has turned brothers against sisters, sisters against aunts and cousins, because they are from different political beliefs. They turn against each other. This democracy has turned Africans against each other because they are from different tribes. And we are seeing a few tribes dominating the African political landscape. And they have now introduced the tribal supremacy. So if you are from a certain tribe, you are likely to be appointed to a government position. And now they have created a dynasty. At the end of it all, we are not seeing the people get the services they need. We are seeing communities being impoverished, a lot of corruption in Africa, and we are also seeing conflicts that are tribal in nature, like what we are seeing in Ethiopia. And these tribal conflicts are further disintegrating Africa and dividing us when we are already divided based on these colonial boundaries. So we have to promote this African identity, the African nationalism, because we need now the symbols of African unity to unify us. And then we also need one unifying language. And the United States of Africa proposed Kiswahili to be the unification language of the African people wherever they are, whether in the diaspora, in Africa, in the Caribbean, if we have one language to unify us, then all these differences that we have, the misunderstanding between Africans from different countries, will come to an end, and we will be able to start building a united Africa and see ourselves as brothers and sisters. Because before the Berlin Conference, Africans could move from South Africa to Cairo without any problem. They were able to move to the Western Sahara if they wanted, and there was a lot of trade, and that made Africans very wealthy during that time. So we really need to go back to our culture, be proud of our black identity. There are people that shy away from expressing their identity. Yet, on the other hand, we are seeing these people who believe in homosexuality. They are openly expressing their identity, holding pride matches. But we are not seeing black people holding black pride matches to express how proud they are about their black identity. And that is something, if was done, could have really helped combat this negative coverage about Africa, the negative identity that has been associated with blackness. Brother Titi, we can make a contribution there.
Okay, thank you. I actually have another meeting to go to, but then before that, I would actually like to add on to what I think I saw on Facebook. Maria, I think Maria Suarez was saying something about leaders not caring about people, and also I would plead with you then to say that actually extend an invite to the guys who are on Facebook. I see a number of comments so that they can actually join. Some of them might be in South Africa. They will join our Azania chapter, and then wherever they are in the world, I think there is a specific chapter they can join. So let me finish by saying that even the legal system, you look at the legal system is not for Africans. In Africa, when a king got out of favor with people, when people got hungry, when people were discontent, a king was assassinated. Right now, there is not discontent that you can have with a president. The laws right now are legal. They are not just. There is not just in the legal system. There is not justice in the legal system. They are just there because, well, they are legal. Parliament agreed that, okay, this is how we are going to do things. And that's eventually how we do things. The laws are written somewhat on stone, really, because over time, they are actually becoming more and more restrictive on the people. Like, it is becoming more like micromanaging the people. At the end of the day, what I'm going to say is that we need to understand that everything is a construct. What is happening is not coincidence. Like the colonization of Africa was planned. How like the legal system was a plan. The consumption, Africa being a consumer is a plan. The fact that like you say we make what we don't consume and we consume what we don't make, it's also a contract. Construct, let me say, because it was mentioned that okay, Ghana and Ivory Coast and those countries on the Levant of Africa, they produce the world's almost 90% of the world's cocoa supply, and the chocolate industry, which is based on cocoa and Coca-Cola and all those industries are like 100 trillions of dollars in revenue. But what did the raw material producers, the Levant of Africa, what did those countries get? It's probably like 5% of the whole value chain. So we don't have value chains, we don't have anything, nothing. For us, everything it was constructed for us so that it will favor a handful of people, give them enough resources to make enough noise, to own the media, to have sway on the media, and we end up listening to people who are very, like Maria says, they don't care about the people. Very unfortunate. I remember when in South Africa, whenever there's a new leader, we get very excited as a country. Each and every country, whenever a new leader comes in, we are very excited. Then over time we realize that we did not actually need such caliber of a leader. So what is happening? We need to go back and redefine what is good. What is good for us? We need to actually define who we are. Like you're saying, then Everyone is proud. Everyone, if you're gay, you are proud. They pride. If you are white, there is something. If you are in Brazil, you are very proud. But then when it comes to being black, being African, and being proud, now there is some sort of pushback. You cannot be an African. You cannot be proud of who you are. Why? Because it's a construct. If we challenge the construct, if we go back and try to assimilate to do what Zimbabwe did, we become targets. Why? Because it's a construct. You are messing up with a construct that is benefiting the ruling elite. So you basically must be shut up. You must be, your voice must be muzzled. You cannot be heard. You are suppressed in a way. So with that, I have another meeting to attend. Then thank you for the invite. It was very good. I think that when again when we host a StreamYard broadcast like this, we will have enough panelists to actually uh, contribute to the whole debate. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining. We invited so many people to be able to join, but unfortunately, we haven't been able to get more people involved. But I hope that in our next discussion, we'll have more people that will take part in this conversation. It's very important for us uh, to really begin deconstructing things that are holding us back, and for us to be able to move as one united African nation. We really need to embrace our culture, embrace our cultural identity, be proud of who we are as a people, and begin solving our problems, solving the challenges that we are facing, as opposed to just pushing everything away and saying that things will get better, we shall overcome. If we continue having such kind of attitude, even after 1,000 years, Africans will be languishing in poverty, and nothing will change. So let us embrace the Pan-African spirit. I appeal to all Pan-African organizations to be part of Global Pan-Africanism Network, so that we can work together to build a better Africa, to create an African nation that the world will respect, the African nation that will turn things around and take its full place in the global arena, because no one will tell us, come and sit here. We have to create our own spaces, and we shall not afford to be quiet or to be silenced. We have to continue speaking about issues that affect people of African descent, provide the leadership that Africa needs to move forward, and confront systematic racism that plagues people of African descent around the world. We also have to demonstrate the spirit of unity, overcome our divisions, confront tribalism, stop seeing ourselves as we are from a specific tribe or another. The moment we begin seeing ourselves as Africans, is the moment that Africa will begin to rise. Whether you are in Africa, in the Caribbean, United States, in America, in Brazil, in Europe, one thing that you must remember is that you are an African first. You are black first before anything else. And when anything affects us as a people, it affects us everywhere, because we are one people and one nation, and therefore we must come together in a spirit of Pan-Africanism and begin confronting all these historical problems that have kept us downtrodden, that have made Africans consumers and the black people around the world, regardless their social status or their wealth position, the economic positions, they are still consumers. Even in the United States, We have very few black-owned businesses and corporations, and many black people rely on white-owned industries to employ them, to provide them for their needs, for their food, for their shelter and clothing. This is the time for us to start creating our own institutions, the economic institutions that we need as a people, produce whatever we need. If we want processed cocoa, let us set up industries, add value to this cocoa that we have, and be the first consumers of the first grade cocoa, first grade tea. We should be the first consumers of everything that we produce, and start prioritizing goods that are manufactured in Africa, supporting the African manufacturers instead of buying from Toyota. Why not buy from Kentucky or any other African manufacturers? This is the Africa we need, an Africa that is proud, too proud, such that is not willing to buy what it already has. We need to buy what we have and consume our products, support ourselves. Self-support is the best way in which we can have an economic stable Africa. I invite you to be part of the next discussion. If you want to join the next panel discussion, you can reach out to us via the WhatsApp button that is already available on our page, and we will schedule you for the next panel discussion. StreamYard has a capability of 10 people, so which means that we can have 9 guests on the platform. So looking forward to have another interesting panel discussions. Have a great day wherever you are.